All right. Question 11 and 16. You would need to understand 14, 15, 16 to finish yesterday's classwork. Okay. 5 divided by 2 radical 3. What index is that one? 2. Okay. If you have an index of 2, how many identical things do you need to simplify? You need 2. Right now, how many 3 do we have under that radical? 1. So what we need to do is we need to multiply one more radical 3 so that we have 2 radical 3s, right? Now, what we multiply to the bottom, we obviously need to multiply to the top. Remember back in Algebra 1, you keep hearing multiply itself or multiply the identical thing? That's why, because back in the day, we did not study anything besides radical with an index of 2. But now we have rad 3 and rad 7. I'm sorry, third root, third index, fifth index, and so on and so on. So it's not always true to say that multiply by itself. Does that make sense? So on the numerator, we now should have 5 radical what? 3. On the denominator, we have 2 times square root of 9. But square root of 9 is technically what? 3. So if you want to go all the way there, you can go. Okay? So if you want to go from this step to this step, that's okay too. So final answer would be 5 rad 3 divided by 6. Can I reduce the rad 3 under the radical and the 6 on the outside of the denominator? No. Remember we talked, I know you guys laugh. I said only rad kids can play with radical kids. The non-radical kids can only be played with the non-radical kids, okay? So, a little bit in mathematics, okay? All right, 12. Under the big radical, 2 divided by 5. What are you going to do? Separate them. You can put them under one rad if they are already radicals. But if they are together, you can separate. They are still radical kids. Now, go ahead and get a head start. Rationalize that for me. Box your final answer. Compare that to your team. And then let me shuffle your cards so we can compare them. If you have an answer, can you please compare them? Devin, what is your next step, hon? How did you go from here? Okay. Good. And then now, what did you write? Hold on. One more time. Okay, what did you write in the numerator? Okay. Over. Okay. So you wrote rad 10 over 5. Box that up, right? Good. Again, you cannot reduce radical 10 with the outside 5. Okay? You cannot reduce that. 13. On 13, thank you. On 13, technically, you can multiply top and bottom by rad 8 straight away. But I suggest that we simplify first. How do we simplify rad 8? Yep, under the rad 8, you know there's a nice perfect square number, which are 4, and times non-perfect square number 2. What is square root of 4? 2. So now we can take a 2 out. This guy is still under the radical. Can we simplify the outside 4 and the outside 2? Yes. Yep. So on the top, whoops. On the top, we should be, it's doing something funky. Okay, on the top, we can now write 2 over radical 2. Do we now know what to do or where to go? Yes, so go ahead and continue. Let me shuffle your cards again. 2 divided by rad 2. How would you write an equivalent expression with no more radicals in the denominator? Brandon, what did you do from here? Good. And final answer, Brandon, you got? One more time? Is it just rad 2 for the final answer? Oh, I see it. You went straight away. Okay, sorry. I went like this, and then Brandon's right. It's just rad 2. Do you guys agree? Perfect. Sorry, I did ask you your final answer. Now, these are the newer ones. Some of you already know how to do these. Would you agree? We have 2 plus rad 5 divided by 5, take away 2 rad 5. Can I cancel that and that, the 2's and the 2's, and the rad 5 and the rad 5, and just get 5 as our fan? No. So you have a binomial, that means 2 terms on the top, and a binomial, that means 2 terms on the bottom. Normally, I group them so you guys have a better understanding that we can't really cancel things unless they are factorable by the same common factor. So to get rid of the radical on the bottom, we multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. We have learned the word conjugate before. Conjugate means what? The opposite. So the opposite of the denominator. So what is the opposite of your denominator? So remember, the conjugate means we change the sign only in the middle, not anywhere else. The conjugate means we change the sign in the middle. And just like what we multiply to the bottom, we multiply to the top. Now, and we talked about this before, we love conjugate because what happened to the terms in the middle? They do. They cross out. So do I need to worry about multiplying the middle terms? No. So on the bottom, we'll do the bottom first. So the bottom is easier to obtain the answer. Good. Why is it 5 plus 2 rad 5? Because the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate means you only change the sign where? In the middle. In the middle. Okay. All right, multiply the first and the last. 5 times 5 would be? 25. And Olivia's laughing because I suck at singing. Okay. And then negative 2 rad 5 times positive 2 rad 5 is now a negative what? Yeah. Be careful. It's negative 4 for sure. Rad 5 times rad 5, class, is technically what? Rad 25. But rad 25 is really what? 5. So go straight here. Okay? By now, we should have an understanding that radical 3 times radical 3 is rad 9. But rad 9 is really 3. So rad 5 times rad 5, you should get straight all the way to what? 5. Okay? On the top, can we assume that the middles cancel? No. So we have to FOIL this slowly. Okay? Here we go. 2 times 5 would be what? 10. 2 times 2 rad 5 would be? 4 rad what? 4 rad 5. Okay. And remember, only the rad numbers can multiply with the rad numbers. Now, in the middle, rad 5 times 5 would be? 5 rad 5. In the n, 5 rad 5 times 2 rad 5 is what? 2 times 5, which you did say 10, and you are right. Okay. Then from here, we need to go further. On the numerator, we have now 10 plus how many rad 5s? 9 rad 5 plus a 10 in the back. This one is 25. Take away 20. I want you to go as far as you can and then box up your answer, and then let me call on you. Okay. Okay, confirm with one another. Final answer whenever you're ready, Ben. What did you end up getting? 9 rad 5. One more time. Plus 4. What did you get the 4, hun? Ah. Okay. Rad, I'm going to write your answer. Over what, hun? Or no, nothing. Nothing. Okay. I love it. Okay. Guys, let's work this out. What do you write on the numerator? 20 plus 9 rad 5 over what? 5. Okay. Now the question is, can I cancel those? No. Can I cancel that? No, you may not do that. Guys, you may only cancel if it's a multiplication. Okay, right now that's a 20 plus 9 rad 5. So guys, that will be your final answer. Okay, so I'm very glad that we brought that up. Again, we can only reduce if things are being multiplied. All right, 15. What is the conjugate on 15? Good. What you multiply to the bottom, we have to go and multiply to the top. And the bottom is easier to distribute, so I'm just going to go straight there. On the bottom, 2 times 2 is 4. Negative rad 6 times a positive rad 6. Go straight there. Negative what? Negative 6. Would you guys all agree with that statement? Negative rad 6 times a positive rad 6. Remember, that's a negative rad 36. Negative rad 36 is now just a negative 6. Okay. Now, if you need to multiply it all out to see if things cancel, could you still do that? Of course. Okay. On the numerator, can I just assume that things in the middle cancel? No, because they are not what? They're not conjugate. So let's slowly distribute. 2 times 2 is what? 4. 2 times rad 6 would be 2 rad 6. In the middle, rad 6 times 2 is also 2 rad 6. In the end, rad 6 times rad 6 would be rad 36, but rad 36 is technically plus 6. Okay. All right, go ahead and combine the numerator. 4 plus 6 will give us what? 10. 2 rad 6 and another 2 rad 6 would give us 4 rad 6. All over, what's the bottom? Negative 2. Can I box that up? No. What? Look at the numerator. 10 is an even number. Isn't 4 also an even number? So technically, don't they have a common factor? What can we factor out? A 2. What's left? 5 plus 2 rad 6 over, now negative 2. Can we simplify? Yes, now we can simplify those two because it's a multiplication. So now we have 5 plus 2 radical 6 over negative 1. No, we don't want to box that up either. If you have a negative 1 all by itself in the bottom, you should rewrite it on the top. You may box this up. And some of you love distribution, so you can even write negative 5 minus what? 2 rad 6. So I would take one or the other. Last one, I will give you guys a 2-minute head start. So 2 minutes head start. I want you to consult with one another, talk it out. If you're fast and you got an answer, compare them. Be like, this is what I got.
It's 13.
Very good, Hannah. Very, very good. Wasn't you pointing at me or the whiteboard? Okay, so these two will give me the final answers, and we'll go backwards and do the work. Santana, what is your final answer? Oh, hold on. Let me turn that up. Okay. 28 plus 7 rad 3 over 13. Hun, what did you get, Hun? If you got one. Did you finish or no?
28 plus 7 rad 3 over 16.
Okay, so you got 16 minus 3, so you're almost there. Okay, perfect. That means he also had the same answer. Conjugate, y'all. What is the conjugate for this? 4 plus rad 3. Here's something I want to bring up too, because not all the time. Okay. All right, guys. If, so here's an if case. If there's a negative 4 in the front, if there's a negative 4 in the front, do you change the sign in the front for the conjugation? No, the negative will maintain a negative. Only the sign in the middle is being changed, okay? So since it's not the case for here, we'll go back to my old green pen. So the conjugate would still be everything the same except the sign in the middle. So this will also get 4 plus rad 3. On the bottom is 16 minus 9 or 3? 3, okay? So it's technically rad 9, but rad 9 is really 3. On the top, you can distribute that out, which is 28. Okay, so that's what Santana has. 28 plus 7 rad 3. Technically, I will accept what Santana has, or you can leave the 7 in the front because that's a common factor all over 13. I will accept that or that, okay? That's an algebra for today. Work on number